Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Hey, Nui. Today we're going to do things a little bit differently from Friday. Friday, I had just jumped right into trying to solve problems, and I think that's okay if I'm not streaming. I think if I'm streaming, then I needed to have practiced a little bit more so that at least, well, I don't know. I think there was some value in what I did, but I think today we're going to do it a little bit more collaboratively. So more interview prep, aren't any specific interviews, it's just for the job hunt. Today will most likely be, yeah. So this is definitely going to be technical. So Adam is going to start by doing questions/problems collaboratively so that we can learn together. Then at some point, maybe not even today, he'll say, go back to the not reading chat style of doing things. I go back to, I don't know. Hey, Lumi. Hey, Christian. Hey, Beldathus and Chiaz. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, I want to just finish typing this command, and I want to figure out what sites we should use. I go back to trying to solve them on his own without interacting with chat for that time. Okay, that's pretty good. There we go, Sonius. I'm seeing some new names here. I don't know if you guys joined in during Friday, but welcome to the stream. Actually, I find that a little unlikely, only because what are the odds you're here both days at the beginning, or well, the second day at the beginning. So we found out about a bunch of these different sites, and they're here. And what I want to do, like I said, last week, what we did is we went to HackerRank, and man, I swear that's a Chrome thing. It's very annoying. I think at first I misattributed it to Bing, but it's always the address bar. So what we had done last time is I went through some of these problems. I don't even know where the, yeah, I clicked algorithms and then, okay, this is taking a while. And then we went through a few of these. And I was not reading chat for that time. And I think, like I said, I think that's okay. I feel like I should have a little bit more experience doing this again before I go back to that style. So I think what we'll do today is we'll talk about how we would solve these things. In fact, let's just, well, I guess we should do this based on success rate, maybe. Then we can actually solve them, by the way. It's not like we just talk about them. There was, I wonder if cracking the coding interview, there was a site for the book. Yeah, this one. And they had a bunch of problems. This was a little bit weird in that they posted problems that someone was just asked at a particular company. Where is this? Resources? No, maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Or maybe it's in the forum? That's weird. Hey, Thoros. Yeah, I could have sworn. I mean, I probably went to this site like 5 years ago at this point, but I'm pretty sure they had a section for you to list questions. Oh, well. Dead site, yeah, maybe it is Destiny. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we'll just go through these. So let's take a look at some of these. And when I say collaboratively, what I mean is last time we're doing these questions, what was it? Interview prep? What I name the directory we're in? Oh, HackerRank maybe? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're doing some of these interview questions, and I was just ignoring chat for that time, and we would just type out a question. Yeah, this time I want to talk about how we might do things, look up other solutions that people might have. And the reason I think this is really important to do is because I think you absorb a lot, and then you can show that you know that later, as opposed to just jumping in fresh. At that point, you're basically reinventing principles of computer science if you don't remember them. And you're not essentially reinventing them, but yeah. So you set more frequently. I should have started with more practice rather than jumping into performance. There are many foundational pieces of knowledge for this. For example, Actually, this is one of the things I should look up. Binary search implementation. I want to see what other people generally do as their just function signature. How's the job hunt? I haven't really been doing much. At this point, I think I applied to one more company, and I'm gonna probably apply to another company today. And I'm doing these mostly through referrals at this point. I think I kind of shot myself in the foot by having applied with a bad resume, essentially. Okay, so let's see what we have here. A, N, and T. Given an array of N elements and target value T. Okay, yeah, so they have a left and a right here. And this is what I want to look into. They don't have a recursive solution. Math symbols. Oh no. Yeah, okay, so this is, yeah, so for example, when doing a binary search, knowing to keep track of the left and right indices for the search is relatively basic. But if you don't remember that, then having to come up with it on the spot can be more difficult than the algorithm itself. And this is what I wanted to drill in. At some point, I'll probably do a blog post or a course on this stuff. I'll have to think about it. So these are the kinds of things I was talking about. Same thing with if anyone ever asks you time complexity and you see something like a binary search, you should just immediately think, okay, it's got a log n in there somewhere. Because if we're using binary search, then we're splitting in two every time. So let's see what this one is. I think the easy ones are not so much algorithm problems as they are like, do you know how to code problems? So observe that its base and height are both equal to n, and the image drawn is using hash symbols and spaces. Last line is not preceded by any spaces. Write a program that prints a staircase of size n. Okay, so the thing I think here is that it's a for loop of for loops. We know that this is going to form a right triangle always, or there's a more specific term probably. Well, anyway, a right triangle where both of its legs are equal. I'm pretty sure there's a term for that. It's not equilateral because that's where all three sides are equal. But yeah, so we loop down the different rows and then we loop across each column. I guess we could just do this. Yeah, might as well. Because I don't think this sort of thing is all that difficult. So let's see if we can just code this quickly. So let I equals 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, and then let j equals 0, j is less than I, j plus plus. Actually, we could say j is less than n as well. And make sure we type the right iterator there. And so then we say if, and so we want a string here. We'll say like row equals empty string. We could actually just use repeat here because we can use Lodash. Isosceles right triangle. Thank you, Green Raimu. Why are you green? I'll give you a point. So we want to print spaces up until we hit the end of this. Okay, so if j is less than n minus I, I'll just do this and we'll see if this works. Row plus equal space. There. So something along these lines. And then console.log row. Yeah. So I might have messed this up by one. I don't know. We're just going to hit run code. Hey, Dirk. Someone else's name looked too close to mine. I see. So your output, I see. I didn't start at 0. Or I didn't. I don't know. I don't know how to say this. So we start at 1 and we go to less than or equal to n. And that's what I was saying. This is as an easy problem. I don't think it's very algorithmic, really. Okay, and then I messed up the very bottom part there. So let's go to 6 and then stop. So it's still less than. This I made 2 off by 1 error. So I was saying I don't feel like figuring that out. So did we get it? We didn't. No. going to put this back to how it was, and then I'm printing that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's something wrong at the very end of this, and I wasn't sure what. This one. Okay. Well, I'm gonna skip the rest of this. I think this is an important skill to have too, but I don't want to get stuck on this. I want to look at different algorithms. All right, hundreds of people genuinely hate interviews that include brain teaser questions like this. Yeah, Des did. But as long as some people are still doing it, I feel like I need to kind of waste my time doing this. So I wonder how the other sites do these things too, because I kind of want to get back to HackerRank to attempt these problems. Well, I should just go look at some of the other ones. To join, you must first prove your skills. Choose your language to begin with. Is this the competitive one? Oh, I've seen this site before. Yeah, maybe we should take a look at this one too. Or maybe I should just continue through these. Thing is, I wanted to get to there were whatever cracking the coding interview used to have as a companion site is what I was looking for here. Where they just had problems listed out. And I don't see something like that. Had experience with data science roles in finance. There were a lot of brain teasers. So to be honest, I don't think of these as brain teasers so much, just to be clear, because I think Destin was saying even these are kind of brain teasers. I do think there's sometimes an aspect of being a brain teaser where it's like there's a best solution, and if you happen to know it, then cool, we feel like you solved the problem. Would be a better way to evaluate a candidate. I think pair programming is great because I think you can tell how they think, you can tell how they'll actually solve a problem, and it's a less high pressure environment because the pair programmer should be trying to help the candidate. But then again, I don't know enough about how that scales and how well it would work for even big companies. Plus, it does require that you know some of the technology that you're going to be hired for. No, actually, maybe they could be flexible on that too. All right, so what is code signal? Oops, interview practice. Okay, I just coincidentally happened to click the right couple of things. But sign up for free. It seems kind of like the same thing. The only thing is that they have a pricing section, and I don't know if this is free. I know I have it listed under free resources. Oh my God, 500 per month. So that has to be for a company, right? Yeah. So maybe it's free for developers. Did I write it down here? It's paid for companies, but not for developers. All right, let me go see if I can sign in here. This is the only problem with this is I'm gonna have to read through their privacy policy and terms of service, and I don't think they're huge. So we'll have to skip on this site for now. I'll write it down as homework. I'll just do that later. Look through privacy policy and terms of service for code signal so that I can do problems there. Well, maybe there's another site that doesn't have such a large privacy policy and terms of service. What's this one? Now support 14 coding languages. Where are the questions and stuff? Code clashes on coding game. It's great for inducing stress. I think even just doing interview problems on stream was good for inducing stress. But the point I want to do today, Andy, was something collaborative where we would talk about how to solve these things together, and it would just be a learning experience for everyone. And then I'd go back to maybe testing on problems tomorrow. Many problem tests is the better term since we don't actually care about the code, but let people whiteboard. Oh, maybe problem test. Sorry, I think I misread that. Yeah, I still very strongly dislike whiteboard coding because I just still feel like I've never done that in a real world scenario. So okay, where are the questions. Here we go. Over 1,550 questions. Okay, this is kind of what I'm thinking of. At least I'm pretty sure. Let's take a look. Given an array of integers, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to a specific target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. Okay, I think this is sort of like it at least. Are there other ones here? Letter combinations of a phone number? Is this like K9? Wait, what's it called? T9 typing? K9 typing. Given a string containing digits from 2 to 9 inclusive, return all possible letter Yeah, okay. These are pretty cool. Yeah. This is like that site that I'm trying to describe to you guys that I was pretty sure was cracking the coding interview. So I don't know if I have an account here. And I don't. And I don't know if their sign up process is the same length as that other site. If this is, we might just have to read this on stream then. Oh, what? Where is the, oh, here it is. They don't even say when you sign up that you're agreeing to it. I don't think that's okay. Okay, this one's shorter. Yeah, they're both shorter. Okay, we can look through these. Hey, Vigo. Hey, Smurf. Yeah, woof, 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 woof. Yeah, not typing. How would you approach to know where user camera will look in 1 second? It's not coding, it's more. Okay, yeah, I see, Dirk. Yeah. We deploy whiteboards to production all the time. It's the one Amazon recruiter sends you when you start the interview process. I see. What are you looking for? I want to read them because they say you're agreeing to them when you sign up for sites most of the time. And if I don't know what I'm agreeing to, I can't sign up for the site. So we are going to have to read this. And I'm sorry, this is always a very boring part of the stream. I've had to do this many times on stream. So I generally just skim. It's not a very interactive time. Usually there's nothing too crazy. I have not signed up for sites because of their terms of privacy policy before. Yeah. I don't actually mind generally too if they say the content is basically everything on the site. Although then they usually they'll say something like user generated content. I don't really mind if some site ends up owning my interview question answer. But I doubt they're actually looking through those. Okay. Sorry, I know this seems stupid, guys. I do need to read through this. All right, good. I'm surprised they don't link to their privacy policy. Seems like a very haphazardly thrown together. Also, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And premium subscription, I did not actually look at what that gives you. As far as the terms about that, that's fine. Yeah, okay. So this is all totally fine. They don't hyphenate third party, which I like thinking about things. You know what they're saying when they say third party. They mean third hyphen party. But imagine if they're talking about a third party service. That means that there are 3 like party services and that they have a third one that they like to talk about for throwing parties. It's like, look at your terms. I don't know. I guess people don't care about English. So LeetCode provides the privacy policy. Let's keep going through here. Of course, using this like PII. We collect and stores this personal information. Oh man, I'm gonna email them after this. Hyphenate third party and we stores personal information, or we collect and stores. This personal information. Okay. All right. All right, so far everything's okay. They're a little heavy-handed with the cookie policy here, and that they don't require any sort of indication. Okay. Yeah, we're almost done with this. Imagine someone's watching the VOD and they're like, why did he get to this? But after this, we'll get to actual interview problems. Okay. 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 I think this is fine. And they've got a support thing here that I can contact when I finally do reach out to them. All right, so I agree to these things. Let me sign up for an account now. Again, I'm sorry. I know that's incredibly tedious to have to watch, let alone go through on your own. Okay, I signed up. Now, do I have to verify my email address before I can use this thing? Confirm email address, yes. To activate your account, click this link. Click. Okay, cool. So I think we're all set. Now we can finally get to it. Let me read through what I missed in chat. Hey, Lazy Guru, and hey, Bomber's Peak, and Zammer. Isn't there a service that does a TLDR, the TOS? I don't think there's a generic service for this. Maybe there is, but I actually don't know how much I would trust that, because it's either that a robot is going through it and trying to summarize what it thinks is important, which I think would be very tough to do, or it's a human going through it, in which case every single site that is ever interacted with needs to have an up-to-date terms of service, or else the site wouldn't be helpful. Yeah, the first two parties were better. Let me see. I think Cicely, I don't think the reading the terms of service part of that was good. But yeah, I hope the rest is that. Someone who went through the job search process fairly recently. I found LeetCode much more representative of the kinds of problems. Yeah. Yeah, HackerRank, I think for the medium and hard problems might have been closer to what we could expect. Because that seemed good. Hey, Squid Fry. Try to use Rust. Not yet. Okay, so let's look through some of these. And like I said, we're going to do this collaboratively. So we'll start with some easy ones. Returning sum of 1D array. Okay, if this is what I think it is, then this is not going to be difficult. Introducing our new question interface. Brand new editor, an intuitive question picker, and more. Let's go through this really fast, I guess. Okay, so you can resize. Is this intro.js? God, I hate intro.js. I don't know. All right. Filter questions by any of your lists, name, difficulty. So at the bottom left, that might be helpful. Configure code editor settings here. You'll be able to switch to the old version here if needed. Okay, that part might be nice. So font size, large. Theme, just anything that is dark. I don't care. Yep, that's fine. Key binding for tab size, small. Okay. There's no way to make the whole site dark. Aw, man. Dr. Rubbing. Okay, so given an array, we define a running sum that is equal to this. Okay, so this is slightly different from just sum and array, because it's a cumulative sum. So, okay, well, what I want to do here is I want to talk about, in general, at a high level, how do we want to solve this problem? And so with this one, I think, okay, it's a cumulative sum, and so we're going to keep a sum variable, and we're going to iterate over the array. This has to be an O of n operation, and we're just going to keep adding the current element to that sum variable and storing it in a new array. So I don't think this is too difficult. I think it's worth doing here. Maybe I should try doing this in different languages at some point too. All right, so we're gonna say var cumulative sum equals an array, and var. Did I not increase the font size on this? Is this seriously as big as it goes? Oh wow. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to zoom in on the browser then. So var current sum equal. Actually, we could just get the last sum. Yeah. I equals 0. I is less than num dot length. I plus plus. And then we're going to say cumulative sum I equals nums I minus 1 plus nums I. And nums I minus 1 might not exist. So we have to say last sum equals I is greater than 0. Nums I minus 1. Otherwise 0. And then we say last sum equals. Okay, then what do we have to do? Return cumulative sums. There's no autocomplete here. I don't know if there was on the other thing. And then is there a test thing here? Hopefully there is. Judging speed up. Oh, I'm supposed to look in cumulative sums. There we go. Okay, so now we hit submit. What happened here? What? How? I don't understand this part. This, unless they're running on exactly the same configuration in the back end and there's no, yeah, I don't, whatever. I understand what it's trying to communicate to me. I just find it weird that it's doing that. I guess that'll matter more for other algorithms, that the time complexity could be different, whereas this one you can't do it without being in O of n time. Well, you could be worse than O of n time, I guess. You can't be better than it. All right. How do you bear with traveling with streaming? Do you have any specific advice? I never really had to travel and stream. Or I don't know if you have something that's happening pretty consistently here. Like, are you saying you live at place X and you stream from place Y? Or what exactly? But I never had to do any of that. So I've only ever streamed from like my streaming location. Hey TS. Crazy someone with your following doesn't get paid by Amazon enough to live on that. You mean from Twitch? I've never really prioritized making money through Twitch, but I think even at like the highest amount of subscribers I probably ever had, it probably did not exceed minimum wage. That's my guess. Actually, maybe it did for those months. It depends. But in general, on average, I'm like way lower than minimum wage for a Twitch streamer, and I don't plan on trying to make money off of that. In fact, I was thinking of canceling the Twitch partnership. It's been, I think, 4 years that I've had it, and I think I want to turn off subs and cheering now. With that said, before you go, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for throwing your money at the screen. Have I ever encountered interview questions starting with from math formulas? No, I don't think so. Is there no for each loop in JavaScript? There is a for in loop, I believe, and we probably could use something like that. The thing is, I'm so used to using Lodash for pretty much everything. Like, I very rarely write out regular for loops. So for example, here I would do something like a for each, and I would have said we had these numbers and we have numbers, and then, oh my God, what am I doing? This isn't even, we have nums and we get the element and then the index. And I would generally have always done things like this. And I don't know if LeetCode lets you access libraries like that. It might. Make sure you also do the time and space analysis. They'll generally ask for that. Yeah. Yeah, so in that last one, we had, O of n time and space for both of those because we had one new array and we had to iterate over the first one. Why not use the built-in one? I just never tended to because I was always using Lodash and I wanted consistency. The built-in one, I think, is generally fine. It does have different semantics sometimes from the Lodash ones, and also it could have different arguments. But I'm not, yeah, I just always use Lodash for that. Any reason not to use reduce? For the last one, because we're not reducing to a single value for that last one. It was an array of cumulative. I mean, I guess we could keep that as our accumulator as an array. Yeah. Am I doing technical interview prep for myself for a course? I kind of answered by that today command. It's pretty much just for myself. Recently started streaming with all the coronavirus. I decided to move to my hometown, and I didn't move my desktop computer. Yeah, I think it's tough to do to have two completely different streaming setups. Yeah. Okay, so let's go through some more of the easy ones. And like I said, I want this to be collaborative. That one, I don't think we're going to answer questions like that. I think I want to look at the more algorithmically interesting ones. So let's go to problems. Let's search for how do we do this easy. And yeah, I guess we can search for the category algorithms. Okay, I think is 2sum the one we just did? No, it's not. Okay, so yeah, let's just go through all these then. Yeah, there aren't that many. And we'll just talk at a high level about how we do these. So given an array of integers, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to a specific target. So you may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. So if you have 2, 7, 11, and 15, 2 and 7 can add up to 9. So we'd return the indices of 0 and 1. Okay, so what do we think about when we hear this? So some thoughts right now for me. We know that it's a sum, and we know it has to be an exact sum. So we have a target number, and how we could do this is we could say like target minus first number minus second number has to be equal to 0. And this always makes me think, could we do things in a clever way, a data structure perhaps where we track this stuff. Also, another couple things we can like bail out, or oh no, never mind. The array could contain negative numbers, so we can't bail out as soon as we see a number that's above our target, because there might later be like a -2 in the array. Then other things I kind of think about here, and this is where I always think, if you've seen enough of these problems and start to analyze patterns, and you'll be able to tell a little bit sooner what you're doing. So let's say we sorted the array. What would that lead us to here? And so you'd have this array would actually look exactly like the one that we have here. You'd know that once you have checked all the numbers, like the two complements have to add up to the target. So if you did have something like -2, 7, 11, 15, you could know after you got to -2 and 11, first of all, you've already had your answer, so let's say this was 12, that 15 can never be a possible answer. So you can start rejecting certain elements of the array. Now that probably doesn't really help you, because you've already had to sort the array, which is n log n. And iterating over the array itself is just n. But yeah, so. Change the indices you have to return. Yeah, and I guess you keep track of a mapping if you wanted to, of what were the original indices. Again, this would be like you'd have to have a real world scenario for you to want to do this. Otherwise, you're coming up with the circuitous way of answering the question. You could search for 9 minus nums I in the list. What do you mean by that? Maybe if we store the complement of each number, we can solve in linear time. Yeah, so what I think is, where's the, oh, do you have to customize this every time? No, it just didn't remember. What is going on? It should, there we go. Now it's dark again. And, oh, I'm not even signed in apparently. Maybe that's why. I don't know how that happened either. Okay, give me a sec. There we go. And that number needs to be in the list for it to be exact. Yeah, so I see what you're saying. Yeah, you could do that of O of n squared and iterate over it twice. And so I always think, what's the naive solution? Because I guess in the worst case, you should at least have some solution. And so yeah, I think it would be iterate over the list once, and then an internal iteration over it, and just see, does this number plus this number equal our sum? So you'd say like for I in list and for j in list, if I, like, well, they'd be indices. If index of I equals index of j, continue, and then if I plus j equals target, then return index of I, index of j. So here's our pseudocode for the naive solution. Barkris, welcome back. And this would definitely work. I wonder if there's a better way. Actually, you know what? If there are hints, okay. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be doing this collaboratively, so I think this is pretty much the same. A really brute force way would be to search for all possible pairs, but that would be too slow. Again, it's best to try out brute force solutions just for completeness. So yeah, coming up with optimizations, what can we do? Also, we know there's exactly one solution. Yeah, so it's these optimizations that I want to start to think about. So yeah, I don't think this is an optimization, but I was going to say at any given point, you could say the problem says two numbers that add to the target. But that's kind of the same as if you take one number, now you've split the problem so that it's one number, it's basically like binding a value here, and then we're only checking against that one. So to be clear what I'm trying to talk about here, let's say we have 2. Now we're searching the rest of the list for 7. And if we take 7, we're searching the rest of the list for 2. If we take 11, we're searching the rest of the list for -2, because our target's 9. If we have 15, we're searching the rest of the list for -6. And yeah, so I still think you could sort the list and keep track of original indices, and this makes getting the goal number much faster. In fact, what we could do, yeah. Yeah, the index is lost if you sort it, so you need to keep track of it. You could definitely do that. Ember, welcome back. Could you add 2 in the middle and then remove 50% of them? What do you mean? I don't think this is necessarily sorted. This one happens to be sorted, but it just says given an array of integers. It doesn't say that they're sorted. So the 2 in the middle could be any arbitrary 2 numbers. Yeah. So this sounds interesting to me. And again, let's say we had this structure. So we basically have something like, let's say our input is 11, 7, 2, 15. And we sort this so that now it's like 2 and then the original index. So 2, then 7 and the original index, and then 11 and the original index, and then 15 in the original index. So this is what it would look like. First number is the array element. Second number is the index in the unsorted array. So now when you encounter a number, you can binary search your way through the rest of this to see if it's got a match. And if it does, you can bail out immediately because there's only one solution for this. But the sort itself is n log n. And then you're still doing another O of n iteration over the array, and then a log n search for each of those. You can't ignore values bigger than 9 because it says an array of integers, not positive integers. So it's possible that when you get to 15, there actually is a -6 in the list. And 15 and -6 would be 9. So yeah. And actually, I don't know if they also say that your target could be. During that pass, it would be possible to include numbers that are less than the target, so the edited array holds original indices. As far as a less than target thing, again, I don't think you should be looking for just the less than the target because you could have negative numbers. But yeah, you could store the index as you're doing it. Finding x and y that satisfy x plus y equals k is the same as checking whether k minus x is present in the array. Right, exactly. And that's what I was trying to kind of talk about. Oh, I deleted the text already. Let's add cache array. When you hit any entry in the cache index j, the answer is that cache j. All this does is turn this into a map, right? When you hit an entry in the cache at index j, the answer is cache j. Yeah, no, I don't think this is a full solution. Can't you iterate it by element, keep track of the already seen numbers? Then you can, for every number, check if the other part that you need was already seen or not, and then stop when found. Oh, I think I see what you're saying. That you don't need to. Okay, okay. So you're basically that's an improvement over the naive solution that we have here. So there's no need to start at the beginning of the list with the j iteration process. We can always start at the newest unseen element. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So all right, let's look at the other couple of hints. I think I think these are interesting, and I think when you're analyzing these, you'd want to find out, all right, what's the best solution here. Stores value equals index, iterate over it, check if target values in the hash map, return both if true. Oh, I see. And I think this is what someone else was trying to say too. Okay. Yeah. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So possibly the best solution here. We know from any particular element in the list we're looking at what other value we need to satisfy x plus y equals k. So if we had a map of those values, then we could easily check. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. I think this is good. So, yeah, and this is why I think it's really good to do these problems and figure out how you get to solving them. Granted, this is not the real process, right? Because I'm reading what chat's saying, and chat is like, "Hey, here's the solution." And I'd say, "Yeah, that's the solution." And I went through a bunch of things that weren't the solution. So, all right, let's code this. I think this could be. I think this could be good. So we're going to, and let's actually maybe convert this to a little bit more English. So we'll say iterate over the list. Yeah, I think that's what Neri was trying to say as well. And I don't think I understood this. Yeah. Okay, let's try this out. So we're gonna have a map of, let's say like, let's just call it hash map. And we're gonna iterate over this. I equals 0. I is less than num.length. So at any given time, and we have a target. So at any given time, we want the like new target is going to be target minus this. And we're going to see if our hash map has that. So if our hash map new target is not equal to null, then return, oh wait, no, it can't be this. It had to be like value. Then return, what do we return? Return indices. Okay, so I guess hash map new target dot index and I. Okay, if it doesn't have it, then hash map of the number that we're on is equal to this. And then that's it. Return null, I guess. Something like that. Does that work? Oh, whoops, that was supposed to say nums. You attempted to run code too soon. All right, now what do we have? Runtime error. Oh yeah, because this is undefined. Yep. So this is not equal to null. Yeah, we could have just done that. Hey, we did it. Okay, so I had a couple of little problems there. I feel like those sorts of things are bound to happen. So yeah, success. Too much for two brains working together. Imagine if they're like, so do you need any special accommodations for the interview? And I'm like, can I have 200 of my closest friends in the room with me? Yes, you may. Okay, yeah. So I think this is a pretty straightforward one. Can we go back to? Whoops. No. I don't care about that. Can we go back to this? Yeah. So what are the other hints that they had here? Trash Panda, welcome. Thanks for the sub. So if we fix one of the numbers, say x, we have to scan the entire array to find the next y, which is value minus x, where value is the input parameter. Can we change our array somehow so the search becomes faster? Okay, good. And then the hint number 3. Second train of thought is, without changing the array, can we use additional space somehow? Like maybe a hash map, wink wink, to speed up the search. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that was pretty good. So let's just click next. Oh wait, no. Next is out of 1500 problems. We want the next one over here. No, what? What happened? Oh, I clicked sign in. All right, let's try this again. Algorithms. Does that also, by any chance, cut this down? Yeah, to 366 though. There aren't 366 here. Yeah, what's the big idea? All right, well, let's click this one then. Trying to get the last part of your degree first. Well, thanks, Ghostback. Yeah. And good luck to you. We're given a 32-bit signed integer, reverse digits of an integer. So input is 1, 2, 3, output is 3, 2, 1. Assuming we're dealing with an environment which can only store integers with 32-bit signed integer range, for the purpose of this problem, assume the function returns 0 for reversed integer overflows. Do we only have that for exactly one number, don't we? No, that's not true. Never mind. Okay, so when I think about this problem, I think that we could do this in a couple different ways. So let's have this be a scratch pad. So here's the problem. So example is 1, 2, 3 goes to 3, 2, 1, and negative 1, 2, 3 goes to negative 3, 2, 1. So what I would pretty much do here is I would say we could go through, or like while number is greater than 0, we can kind of like pop a digit by doing like %10, so modulus 10, and then shift right by dividing by its, well, okay. First, let's go with a naive solution here, which is convert to string, reverse string, convert back to number. Yeah, so here's, I think, the naive solution, and then I think that's very, very straightforward. But let me see how we might do this. I wonder. Oh yeah, then we can just divide by 10. Yeah, and then by doing that, so take the popped digit and shift left onto our accumulator. So we just add or multiply by 10 and add the digit. So basically the opposite of what we did. I think this is totally fine. I think this will work as a solution. They didn't care about your technical skills. Did you end up getting the job, Cusco Man? Yeah, what did they care about? I'm wondering. Where will I be working? I don't know yet. And hate you. Communication skills, problem describing, got it. And how am I using the archive feature? Yeah, so Tivro, this is something that's not obvious whatsoever, but I use Sublime for that one specific part. So I'll open up Sublime, and then in Sublime, it's not called to do plus, it's called plain tasks, and it looks way better. And then I press Control Shift O on something, and it archives it to a new file. Or maybe I had to customize that. But anyway, yeah, I use a completely different program to archive to a different file. Oh, nice Cusco, man. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so this is what I think I would do. I don't know if this is too crazy or anything. I did not talk about handling overflows though, which I don't know how I would handle just yet. So let's at least write this down. So we're going to do that same thing. We'll say let accumulator equal 0, and then while x is greater than 0. So we're going to pop the digit off. So digit equals x percent 10, and then x divided by 10. And then accumulator plus equal digit, and accumulator times equal 10. Except for that needs to be done first, right? No, can't be done that way. It needs to be done if we've iterated over this already. Yeah. I'm gonna do something really kind of cheap here. I'm just gonna write multiply by 10 equals false. If multiply by 10, then this, and multiply by 10 equals true. Okay, let's at least try that and see what we have. We also need to break out of this if it's, or not, return the center. This may be totally wrong, in which case I'm gonna write some tests. Yeah, okay. So let's go try this. Temp the code, and what's this one called? Reverse integer. .js. Paste that in here. Save. Put this at the top. Console log reverse 1, 2, 3. And then we do this. Inspect, break, reverse. Okay. Now we go load up the debugger. This always takes a second. There it is. And now we can put a breakpoint in here and see what I did wrong. So our first digit we should have, X out of these things, is 3. Good. So that part worked fine. Now we add that to our accumulator. So our accumulator is now the number 3. And X is, oh, whoops, I need to do the floor of that. Math.floor X divided by 10. Okay, now let's try that again. Okay, we're still getting 0. Let's go through this again. What are the impasses is negative? I would need to think about that. I want to see if I even got this basic thing working. Is it not going to break in? No, there it goes. Okay, so let's put our breakpoint here instead. All right, so now X is equal to 12. We get the next digit, which should be 2. Good. And Dorn, 46 months, my goodness. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure yet, Giraffe. I gotta think about that. Okay, so now we get the multiply by 10, and our accumulator, which I should be keeping track of, which currently has 3, is now going to turn into 30. And then we add the digit, so it's 32. Multiply by 10. Oh, oops, I'm returning X the whole time. That's why. This was supposed to be the accumulator that I'm returning, so maybe I did have this working. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now let's try a negative number. So negative 1, 2, 3 turns into 0. Yeah. So this is where I think what we could do is we could just say something like is negative equals X is less than 0. And then X equals math.abs X. That's the easiest way, I think. Thank you, 3D Extended, for both the resub and the nice message. I appreciate it. And then here we just say if is negative, then, oops, I'm writing Python again. If is negative, then accum times equal -1. Okay, that should do this. Yeah. Okay, I mean, I think that's pretty much the solution. Like I said, I didn't handle overflows here, so then maybe that's not totally right. Let's try running that. Okay, out of curiosity, what are their hints? They don't have any hints. Well, let's hit submit and see what happens here. Wrong answer. Okay, yeah, so let's look at this input. What did I mess up? So my expected 0, oh, because this is an overflow? Oh, okay, so they do want you to handle this. So in JavaScript, this is a little different. Yeah. So we could say here is if accumulator, this is cheating, is greater than math.pow 232 minus 1. then return 0. Yeah, that's cheating. That's definitely cheating. I want to figure out the non-cheatery way to do this. Whoops, I didn't mean to. I meant to hit submit. Oh, 2 to the 31 minus 1. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so success. Is negative will never be true. No, I did that on the line before making it the absolute value, so that should be fine. How about just converting it to the string and then reversing the string? Yeah, so that's what I wrote here. If we could do that. But I think the better way to do it is just by using numbers directly. These are the kinds of things where I never know exactly how to feel about these kinds of issues. I feel like this isn't, I don't know, this isn't bad. It's not naive though. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to, this wasn't like a pejorative here of saying naive. This is, what I mean is the first solution that comes to my mind, which is generally not the most optimized one, but yeah, this could totally be fine. And let's maybe write that one too. So this was reverse one style, and now we could say reverse where we say x as string, or like string x equals x. And then I wonder if there's a built-in reverse function. Is there a, can I slice backwards? I don't know. Let's try 1, 0. I don't remember how slice even works in JavaScript. Because I was going to say in Python, we've got, if you say like a equals hello and you do a colon colon -1, this is the stride operator though, right? I mean, we could write a reverse function. I'll just look it up, reverse a string. And we'd have to get rid of the negative and then put it back on. Array.prototype.reverse with split and then join. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Would something like get that output times equal 10, output decision number divided equal 10. Yeah, that's kind of the thing I ended up doing. Yeah. This code here. Am I open about my salary range? It's pretty high. And I've said this sort of thing before, but yeah. I think I'll just say that for now. Lodash has flip. Actually, is there a point to me doing this, I wonder? I think the original point was, let me figure out if it's going to be faster. Creates a function that invokes function with the arguments reversed. I see, there's 2 array that we could use for a string and then reverse it. Alternatively, the whole split, and apparently arrays have reverse. Yeah. Okay, let's just do that. Sure, fine. So split equals string dot split. This gives us an array, which we then reverse, which we then join. So this is now the reversed string. So this is all we've done so far. Let's go test that out. Reverse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got to return the reverse string. I don't think it would be faster than the last solution. Okay, so this works, but now if we have a negative number, it's going to put the negative at the end. And the way we want to do that is actually pretty silly. Yeah, so we'd probably want to, do the same thing we had done before. There we go. And then if, so we'll just do it this way. Say is negative. There. So I did not actually save this code, did I? No, I did. Okay, so there's our code. Let's paste that in and see if that's any better. I don't know if this lets you try out other solutions, but I imagine it would. So we'll submit that. So here it said it's 28.83%. And this other solution I expect would be slower. Output is not a number. Uh-oh. Wait, really? -1, 2, 3? Oh, okay. I think I forgot parentheses. Yeah, I did. So this is curious. What I did, okay, no, I see. It's order of operations is a problem here. In the case where it was negative, we're returning. No, wait, why did that happen? It is order of operations because if parentheses fixed it, then it had to be order of operations. But it was in the case where this is negative. Oh, I see. Okay, got it. The order of operations is on the alternate of the ternary here, which is that this entire thing, when I didn't have the parentheses here, was being treated as one operand of the. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep. Let's try this. So submit, and we're trying to aim to be 28.83. Still wrong answer. Oh yeah, I never handled the overflow case, which means we'd have to parse this as a number to figure that out. Drat. Okay, this is going to be way slower then, and this is the cheater way of doing things anyway. Parse in accum 10 greater than that, then return 0. What am I doing wrong? Oh, accum is not a thing. Yeah. This is actually faster? What? Yeah, what? There's no way that's possible. We made a string. We split it into an array. So now we made an array. We reversed the array. Then we joined it back into a string. Parsed the string as a number. And all of that is apparently faster than what I did with just regular numbers. Yeah, I don't believe it. I'm going to try this again. Hit submit again. It's a difference of like 4 milliseconds. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is silly. Yeah. Yeah, run it multiple times. Yeah. I should have just looked at the numbers here and realized that we're talking about very small numbers. I think this only really matters when you're dealing with large data sets, that you're faster than 50% of the other people. Otherwise, it's just like, did you happen to run and get lucky and shave off 2 milliseconds? Yeah, I don't think you. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that's fine. Let's move on to the next one. Next, is this actually the next problem? Why does it say no? What? Maybe this just doesn't show them all because it says 420 down at the bottom. Did I finish it? Yeah, I'd already finished it with the first this commented out thing, but I wanted to try it the other way. Unless it says you're not faster than any solution. Yeah. So determine whether an integer is a palindrome. An integer is a palindrome when it reads the same forward as backward. I actually read that wrong, but it's fine. Can you solve it without converting it to a string? So this is very similar to the last one. Oh wait, actually, let me go look at the last one another time. I want to see what they had in discuss. Easy solution with video whiteboard explanation. You know, I heard about this. This is people advertise for their YouTube channels or something, right? They solve a bunch of these problems and then they post them on LeetCode. Someone was telling me about this. Simple solution, 0 milliseconds of comment. Okay, so they did kind of the cheatery way here too, by just storing everything in a long so that you can always go beyond the in-max. Hey, Sean. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, this is the same sort of thing as the last one in that we want to reverse a number, but then we want to compare the reverse number against the number going forward. So we just pretty much take this same function here. And then I don't think there's anything more to this question. So it doesn't say anything about overflows, so we'll just delete the overflow code. And what else? Negative numbers should not actually have anything special applied to them. So wait, negative 121. So negative would never, so if x is less than 0, then just return false. Or whoops, not here. It's here that we return false. And so I don't care about this, I don't care about this, I don't care about this. Everything else should be pretty much fine. Yeah, I think so. So now we say reversed equals reverse x. If x equals reversed, just return. All right, that should be it. I don't think this is difficult if you've already written the reverse function. Yeah, okay, that was easy. All right, I don't think there's anything to talk about there. Let's just go on to the next one. So Roman to integer. Roman numerals are represented by 7 different symbols: IV, X, L, C, D, M. LCD. The Romans knew we'd use monitors. For example, 2 is written as II, just 2 ones added together. 12 is written as XII. Okay, so this I categorize as annoying interview question in that I don't know Roman numerals off the top of my head except for things in terms of Final Fantasy numbers. So I can go up to about probably 50. And then I have to really think about it. So in even just looking at a number, it's pretty hard for me to say like, oh yeah, this is 1994. But I wonder, it's probably still worth doing. Well, I guess other people know it by Super Bowl numbers. And then other than that, I mean, what's the highest common thing you see Roman numerals for? It's movie years, right? But movie years you don't ever really read as Roman numerals, whereas I guess with something like a Super Bowl you would. Yeah, the rules are the same. Yeah, I know. It's just hard for me to look at the number and see it as that number. All right, well let's read this. I think it's just, yeah, it's converting a Roman numeral to an integer. So Roman numerals are usually written largest to smallest from left to right. However, the numeral for 4 is not I. Instead, number 4 is written as IV. Because the 1 is before the 5, we subtract it, making 4. Same principle applies to the number 9, which is written as IX. There are 6 instances where subtraction is used. I can be before V and X can be before L and C can be before D and M. Input is guaranteed to be within the range of 1 to 399. Okay, so how would we do something like this? We have a string that's passed into us. And so, excuse me, because of the subtraction rules, we can't just go over each one and add. But there are only 6 exceptions. So we kind of can. So let's try this. This is what I'm thinking. We basically just iterate over each character and check if it's a special rule. If so, apply that rule. If not, just add to our cumulative sum. Yeah, just create a map of size 4000 and you can get it all. That would actually be the fastest solution. There's no faster way. Actually, alternatively, here's an even faster solution. Watch this. We say something like let test case equals 0, test case plus plus, and then we just get whatever the answers are, so like 357 to 1000, and just return answers test case. Done. There's the fastest solution. In fact, it's the fastest to every single problem on the site. All right, yeah. So let's go write the real thing. So I think it's this, and I don't actually know these rules off the top of my head, so let's put them here. And I also don't know the values off the top of my head, so let's put those here. And then let's get the link to this problem and put it here and then save it. And this one is called Roman to integer. Okay. Let's write a function. So we're going to say let I equal 0, I is less than s, the length I is plus. Character is going to be si. Okay. And so now we see it can be placed before these. So we need to check the next character. Next character equals I is less than s dot length minus 1, si plus 1, otherwise nothing. So if, and we can test all of these. Is equal to v or x. So this is one such condition. Let's make it like is special case. You can generate test cases in theory. Yeah, they could for sure. Is special case equals? Oh wait, no. I'm gonna say like I guess just is special. Yeah. All right, so we want this with these. Get rid of this. So this is just a big like return this or, and we'll have two more of these there. And these other ones are X and C. And this is before L and C and D. Okay, so those are the special cases. And then we want to get something like, we'll say like values. I is 1, B is 5, X is 10, L is 50, 100, 500, and 1,000. Batman, welcome back. Thanks for the 10 months. Okay, so if it's special, I don't know what we do yet, but if it's not special, then sum just gets equal to values of char. And if it's special, what are we supposed to do? To make 4 and 9. So then we just subtract the two values, right? Okay, that should be pretty easy. Sum plus equal values next char minus values char. And that's it. Yeah, the formatting is done from prettier. Yeah. Oh, just subtract char. Oh, because I'm not skipping over the next one. Yeah. I see. What technical interview am I prepping for? None in particular. Yeah. All right, let's try that. Yeah, Strong, I think that was key here. And that was the kind of thing where I would have run my code and realized it didn't work. Yeah, okay. So now we hit submit and we try, it worked. Something I wanted to look at first. What are their hints that they have? How is this a hint? What? That's literally just the simple table over here. Subtract 1, subtract. Okay, so this hint is a real hint. Yeah. Yeah, so is there a way I could have done this any better? I mean, technically, inlining functions would make it so that I'm not pushing and popping from the stack here. But that's something that, if it's a compiled language, the compiler's probably going to do for me if needed. The other thing, I wonder, we're doing a lot of comparisons here. But this is short-circuited comparisons because we have this. So if this is false, it's going to break out of here immediately. I wonder if this could be made any faster with a like a double map here. Like we had something like special cases is an object that looks like this, vx. Would that be better? And then we could say special cases char next char. I don't actually know. Yeah, I guess we would need to figure out what's the time complexity of hash map lookups, and the time complexity is based on the hashing algorithm. But in general, it's got to go over each character here, so I think it's just based on the input size of this, and then it should be constant time because it just gets the hash. Except for that doesn't account for collisions, right? Yeah, I think it's always considered O of n times m, where m is your input size and n is your number of collisions. Into the entire problem description, they just copy pasted. Yeah, hash map time complexity. Let's look up what the official. There's a Wikipedia with all of this. Why did that not show up? Huh. Time complexity of the dictionary. Pretty sure it's O1. I've seen it listed with the hashing time considered. So, assuming you have the hash already, then I think it should be constant. But if you have two hashes that compute to the same thing, so like let's say you had, I don't know, so you had like color values or something like that. You had like red, blue, and green. Depending on your hashing algorithm, this could hash to 1, this could hash to like a really large number, and this could also hash to 1. And both of these would still get stored in the hash map, but there'd be some collision resolution that happens, and that does take time to do, and it depends on how many things collide to the same value. And the way that strings are generally calculated for hash keys is some like ludicrous thing that I don't think I'll ever remember. Like hash map, computing a string hash. There's some magic number involved, if I remember this correctly. This is from like years ago. Choosing a hash function. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find this. Here we go. Yeah, so they say everything here is O of 1, but like I said, I've seen this listed when it's comparing the actual hash function itself. Can I delete your link? I can delete your link here. Yeah, they're not scaled by the map size. Yeah. I wonder what I'm thinking of now, because I swear I've seen this listed as other things. And yeah, I generally consider it to be constant time as well, except for the hashing part of things. Let's say like hash map, hash algorithm, or hash algorithm. Internal working of hash map. This got reviewed poorly. Is there a better way to find this? I want to see what the actual code would look like. I don't know where I'm going to find it. Yeah, I don't know what to search for exactly. Hash table maybe. These are accommodated collision resolution. No, I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah. The thing I was looking for was specifically like imagine a function. So we have a hash map. Hash map equals whatever. Some like red goes to this. So in order to take in a function like get hash from key, and then you take in the key, there's something that happens here. And in JavaScript, it's at the JavaScript level, it's just this, I guess, because your hashes are strings, or your keys are strings. But in something like Java, this is a function that does something interesting. And I wanted to see what is the implementation of that function typically. because I remember there being some magic involved in it. Although maybe I'm thinking of, oh God, no, it's got to be this that I'm thinking of, right? I really want to see this. Function to determine hash. Oh, he's being, yeah, I had the Y ping. Man, there, that's time mastery. I'm not gonna find this. Is it this one? The hash itself is calculated by a hash code. So can we see the implementation of that? Somehow? Guide to hash code. How to implement it correctly. No, this is how to implement it as in from an interface perspective, right? Is this it? Hash code for string is computed as this. Okay, that's actually not what I was thinking. What am I thinking of? Man, there's some can like picture the code in my head. I just can't remember what it's supposed to be tied to. Oh well. Yeah. Well, thanks for linking that, Wilkins. It's usually like SHA-3 red mod 31 or whichever prime number. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I want to know what just hash map did by default. Because there was some other thing. There are other algorithms that I think are kind of interesting here, like shuffle and array. This is something that did not make, maybe it's this one. Algorithm shuffles a sequence, effectively puts all elements into a hat, continually determines the next element. Is this the one I'm thinking of? I don't know. But yeah, there's basically a question of like, how do you know? Here's a good question. How do you know if a coin is fair or weighted? How can you determine if a coin is fair or weighted? So basically, you flip a coin once, no matter if it's fair or weighted, you're going to get heads or tails that one time, and you won't be able to tell anything, right? You flip it again, and you might start to see a pattern like, hey, it's heads a lot of the time and tails like once. Okay, so this is clearly a weighted coin that's going to be getting heads. It's not guaranteed to be though, because the way probability works is it's just a bunch of 50% flips, right? So it's possible that this just was someone getting unlucky and getting tails once. This question is, I think, very math based more so than programming based. And it's the same kind of thing with how do you shuffle a list, which from just an English perspective, we all understand what shuffling a list is, but how do you know you've done enough moves in the list? So let's say I have an array and I flip two numbers. This is technically shuffled, right? But it's not fully shuffled or whatever the proper term might be. So these are the kinds of questions that I think I've always looked up before. I've always found these fascinating, and yet I never totally remember what the answer is. Yeah. Wouter, welcome back. It's a funny topical comment you've got there. To leave a hackathon team at the last second, give you motivation? Well, you were on a team. The motivation could just be your other team members. Why don't you talk to them and ask them the same question? Hey, motivate me to join you guys again. It's not equally probable where a card will end up. Yeah, I guess it's a fair shuffling is what I was talking about. But we've gotten kind of this is totally orthogonal to what I was supposed to be doing here. I wanted to look up how the hash code worked in Java, and then I got sidetracked. So let's go to the next question here. Okay. Split and combine 7 times to make a fair shuffle. Yeah, but it's like if you were asked that in an interview, would anyone ever get to that answer? How would you figure that out? Dotson, let me take a look at this. There's something I was thinking of that had just a crazy number in here. Okay. Oh yeah. I mean, something like this is maybe what I was looking at a while ago, where it's like you'd never write this function on a whiteboard. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's all I'm thinking of. That I just saw something with a bunch of random numbers in it, and I'm like, oh, hashing is magic. Who cares? If we were to ever implement it ourselves, we'd look this up. We would never come up with it. But yeah, so thanks for linking that in. Okay, so let's see what this one is. Write a function to find the longest common prefix string amongst an array of strings. If there's no common prefix, return an empty string. So we have flower, flow, and flight returns Florida, and dog, race car, and car returns nothing. Okay, so one of the things that I kind of think about here, there's a data structure called a tree, which some people pronounce as trie to differentiate it from the regular tree. And yeah, I should probably just pronounce it trie as well so I don't confuse people. So this is something typically used for scenarios like this, where you want to have a word. So here we see that there's, wait a second. Okay, I see. Yeah, so they're forming some words here, and each of the arrows in this tree is a letter. So going left here gives you T, going right here gives you E, going left here gives you A, and you get the word T. So we could probably do something like that and form this tree and then figure out how far we've gone. I don't think that's necessary. The other thing we could do is just, I always still think of the naive solution here. We just iterate over each string in the array at the same time and just stop when we get a non-matching character or the end of a string. If we're only doing this once, this actually is probably the best way. But if we were ever doing this multiple times, it might not be as good. Like let's say we had a new word added in just once. Then we'd probably want a data structure matching all these. Every number but 2 appears in the array 1. How do you figure out those unique numbers in O of n time and O of 1 memory? This is some math problem, right? Because I've seen this sort of thing before where you have a list of numbers, but 1 is missing. So like 5 here is gone. And so you can add up all the numbers or use the, what's it called? The Gaussian, is it distribution? I don't remember, Gaussian series or something like that. So you basically, it's n times n plus 1 divided by 2. So it's 36 here is what this is supposed to be equal to. Is that right? 16, 23, no, I did that wrong. N times n minus 1? I don't remember. Anyway, and then you can figure out which number is missing from this. I'd have to think about this some more, but I do want to focus on the longest common prefix thing. Yeah, I prefer the fancy tree. Okay, I think we'll write out the naive solution here. Although let's look at the, oh, there are no hints. Okay, fine. Let's just try this then. So we're going to say that I equals 0, I is less than string 0 dot length plus plus I. So we're assuming something here, which we really shouldn't be assuming. And then we want to go through every other string. So if, I guess let prefix equals this, plus equal string 0 dot I. And we could just say that that's the first string. There we go. We would want to check still to see if that exists. So if first string I, so if the character is not equal to this, or if the length is beyond the array, so if I is greater than or equal to strings j dot length, I'll just call this like string to check. So we put this here, put this here. So if this is the case, then just return the prefix that we have so far. Or if the character does not match. Okay, so something like that. Is there a format button here? Probably not. So we'll just save this as a.js. And that way it's formatted nicely. So let me run this. I might have just totally messed this up. First of all, I never returned the prefix at the end. So that's, hey, hefefafalo. I wrote Haskell. Okay, so I am adding the prefix each time. I didn't mean to do that. First string I is here anyway. Hey, we did it. Did we do everything? No, runtime error. Okay, so when there is no first string, this messes up. So if first string equals null, return empty string. Okay. So this works. I'm guessing there's probably a related question that is a medium one that has you take this on further. Related topic string. Oh man. Yeah, I want to come up with a better way of doing this. Like I said, I'm pretty sure you'd use a try for that. Because what am I doing here? Use this shortest string for the first string. Oh, then to find it, maybe makes it faster. Well, we bail out as soon as we get a string that the lengths don't match up. So I don't think it should matter which one you start with, right? Because if you start with the longest string, you will eventually encounter the shortest string in O of n anyway. And it will only matter for that one iteration. You'd save yourself up to n-1 searches. Out of curiosity, if I hit submit a second time here. Oh, whoa, wait, I didn't realize we had this. Hang on, am I on the same thing? Yeah, I am, wow. Avery, welcome back. And thanks for resubbing. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a solution section here. So horizontal scanning. So for a start, we will describe a simple way of finding the longest prefix shared by a set of strings. Use the observation that least common prefix of all of these is the least common prefix. There's two of them, with the least common prefix of the third and the fourth. Algorithm iterates through strings, finding at each iteration I the longest common prefix of strings. When it's an empty string, it ends. Okay, this is really cool. I'm gonna write this down because I didn't even realize this was a thing. LeetCode has a solution tab that you should look at for every problem to make sure you didn't miss anything. I see what you're saying, Shrunk. Yeah. Yeah. So vertical scanning was this. Imagine a very short string is at the end of the array. Above approach will still do S comparisons. One way to optimize this is to do vertical scanning. Compare characters from top to bottom of the same column. Yeah, so this is what I was doing, is vertical scanning. Time complexity O of S, where S is the sum of all characters in all strings. In the worst case, there will be n equal strings with length m. Even though the worst case is still the same as approach 1. Okay, and then divide and conquer. Idea of the algorithm comes from the associative property. We noticed that, yeah, so the least common, or the what is, I keep saying least common prefix, I don't know what the longest common prefix. Longest common prefix of the first half of the array has to be equal to the longest common prefix of the other half of the array, and so on and so forth down all the halves of the array. But how does this actually help us? Use divide and conquer, where we split LCP problem into two subproblems. We use the solutions to construct the problem of the main one. To accomplish this, we compare one by one the characters of left and right till there's no character match. Sure. Wait, what? What? Oh, wow. Did you see that? It said hello world, and then I clicked it and it turned into the solution. And I was thinking, oh, someone forgot to type something here. But that was just a website bug, I guess. Huh. So in the worst case, we have n equals strings with length m, time complexity O of s. Yeah, I don't see. I see that you can do this. I just don't see how this helps you. Yeah. And you might end up comparing more characters than you have to. So, for example, if you happen to pick two strings where, let's say, I'm just going to copy this entire thing. Let's say your string was this and your second string is this. You're going to compare every single one of these characters when you might have another string that's literally just the letter A, which bails out in the very first character check. But I guess that those are the properties of this. And this is again where an interviewer only cares like, what's your thought process here? Because if you know that you're going to be dealing with dictionary words or something, then you might want to go with a different route than if you were going with completely arbitrary patterns of text, and you might want to bail out early. Why do I write plus plus I? It's a holdover from if it's a holdover from the way of thinking that if you do I plus plus, you need to return I and then keep track of incrementing it afterward. In JavaScript, it's not going to matter. And actually, probably in almost any language at this point, it's not going to matter. And honestly, even if it matters, it'd be like one extra assembly instruction. See, the thing is, it's faster in C and C++. I think it was at some point before compiler optimizations probably could detect, hey, you're not using this value. So, for example, if you write this in C++ of int I equals 0, I is less than 5, plus plus I, both of these at this point should compile to the same code because the compiler can tell you're not doing anything different here. If you use JS set to make them all an array of strings, wouldn't the answer just be the intersection of all of them? Intersection of all of them. I don't know what set intersection is in JavaScript. I know what it is from a math perspective. Is there an intersection thing? Oh, if you're saying we're using a filter, then I don't think that should actually save us anything. Yeah, plus plus I and I plus plus are not the same. What I'm saying is that a compiler would be able to tell in some cases that you're using them just to add one to I and not necessarily the post and pre increment operators. Update Google Chrome? No, I won't do it. I'll let this thing bother you for the rest of the stream. Okay, there's still a lot of other approaches here. Apparently, no, never mind. There's only one. The idea is to apply binary search to find the string with the maximum value L, which is the common prefix of all the strings. Algorithm searches space. The algorithm searches space. I think they meant search space. Is the interval 0 min length, where min length is the minimum string length, the maximum possible common prefix. Each time search space is divided into two equal parts. One of them is discarded. So wait, what is this doing? Split this here and here. Ken, why would you do this? Yeah, I feel like the way I did it, I'm still fine with at the end of all of this. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is fine. Okay, but I still think it's worth reading through these. All right, let's go on to the next thing. And then eventually we should get to some of the medium ones. In fact, this is the last easy one we'll do for now. All right, so given a string containing just the... Okay, so immediately I'm reading this and I'm just thinking stack. Because whenever you see matching characters, and they can be nested, I always think of a stack. So what do we have? Input string is valid if open brackets must be closed by the same type of brackets. Open brackets must be closed in the correct order. So note that an empty string is also considered valid. Okay, yeah, I see what's going on here. Okay, so what I would probably do here, here's my thought, is I would keep a stack of each of these things, and when we encounter a character, try popping off of the appropriate stack. So basically, I'm just going to write this code directly in here. So we'll say something like stacks, and we have a parenthesis stack. Oh, we made a smiley face. Okay, a parenthesis stack, a curly brace stack. My goodness, it's difficult to type this. And an angle bracket or a square bracket stack. Okay, so we have 3 stacks. And now what we want to do is go over each character. I equals 0, I is less than s dot length, plus I, char equals si if stacks.char. So all this is saying is this one of the special characters? If it is, then we want to get that stack. So let's do it this way, I guess. Then we need to pop. And so this I need to remember 1, 2, 3, a dot pop. Pops the end, okay. And yeah, so that makes sense. So we can just use push and pop, of course. And then how do we find out if there's nothing in the array? A dot pop, undefined. Okay. So if not stack dot pop, then this is invalid. So return false. We could do this. I haven't finished the thing here, but we could do this in a slightly different way as well. We could make the array exist in both of these places. So we'd have to make sure this is by reference. So this is like opening stacks. I kind of want to try this. This is me just thinking here. Let's see. So now we paste this in, and we need this by reference. So we say opening stacks like so. And this needs to be the closing character, closing character, closing character. Okay. Whoops. Yeah. So this one and this one. Okay, so that is if it's one of these characters. This is an opening stack. They are going to refer to the same data structure, and that'll let us do something kind of interesting here. At least in my head, it's going to let us do something interesting, and I want to see how that works. So this would be push. Using stack dot push. And we could just push true. It doesn't really matter what. Okay, let me look over this and just see is this even correct. So let's say we get an open parenthesis. We're going to find that it's an open stack. We're going to try. I did this the wrong way. This needs to be backward. Yeah. Actually, technically it would work either way, right? Because they refer to the same structure. I just have the wrong names here. Is there no inbuilt stack? It's basically just an array. Oh yeah, and if the stacks aren't empty at the end, return false, right? Yeah. Let me paste this into here now and do this. Desktop del lead code. This is one called valid parentheses. There we go. So yeah, what I meant to do is write that this one is closing and this one is opening. Although they refer to the same thing, I never actually use the character. It's supposed to be like this. This is where linters help out. And then we of course check if for var a in link stacks, if opening stacks k dot length is greater than 0. Okay, so something like that. Let's actually just paste this in and see what it says. Is this my hobby because I'm having troubles with time management and coding and playing video games? I mean, it's a hobby as well as a job. I think the answer is no to your question then. I'm not actually sure. All right, let's hit submit and see if my question's actually or my answer is actually correct. So here we got false, but we expected true. So yeah, let's go test this out. So I'll debug this. Console.log is valid. Okay. Then we do node something about stacks. What's it called? Valid parentheses. So yeah, mine says true. It needs to be. Wait, what? What? It's passing with this, and it got false, but mine didn't say false. Do I not have the same code in the? What? What am I messing up here? This is something very weird. I hit submit. Did I do something wrong? There's something very basic happening that I'm messing up. When I run this, it prints true, but in their thing it's printing false, and it's exactly the same code. Maybe clear the stacks? You think they're rerunning in such a way that my stacks are being reused? That's possible. Okay. Yeah, that's possible. So we'll say like is valid wrapper. Or we'll do it this way. This is the cheapo way. Return is valid s, or like red val equals this, return red val, and then in between we'll just clear them out. Let's do it the easiest way there. This is just for testing, I guess. Okay, so now we get a different problem here. And yeah, I see what's going on. So I should just push the character. I got it. I should use one stack. I should push the character that we expect. I was just thinking about this the other day. I think this is why interview situations are weird for me, because even though this is a simulated interview situation, I still just go completely off the rails. All right, let's change everything then. So we'll just have one stack. I'll just comment this whole thing out. So stack is just this, and we can now keep track of it just inside of is valid. So let's copy paste all this. Cool. Then we'll say stack. Good. So we get a character, and we see if character equals an open parenthesis or an open curly brace or an open square bracket, that we just say stack.push character. And if it's any of the closing ones of these, then we check. So popped character equals stack.pop. If popped character is equal to undefined. Actually, we just need to check if it's the opposite, but we could return false here. And so then we need to see if it's the right one. We could do it this way. Matching characters is an array of an open parenthesis goes to a closed parenthesis. So I actually use an extension called toggler, and check this out. I can paste these over here and then toggle them both because they're opposite. Just like how left and right could be swapped. I guess it's clearer like this. Great. Anyway, that's if you guys are curious about that, check out the VS Code command. So yeah, matching characters here, and then we can check which matching character we want. So here we're popping a character off of the stack, and we need to make sure that it matches the one we have. So if matching characters, popped character, the popped one should always be an open. So if it's not equal to the character we found, then return false. And then everything else doesn't matter there. And if the stack still contains stuff, stack.length is greater than 0, then there. So that's our function now. Oh, we need this too. And when I mess up, forgot a curly brace. Okay, I messed up all the curly braces. In a program talking about matching curly braces, I sure botched this. There, that should be better. Pasting in a bunch of comments here too. Yeah, there. Do I have a print line? I do. Submit that again. See if we get better than 40%. Actually worse. That's why you shouldn't trust this stuff. The percents are so gamed, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling up in chat trying to see if I missed anything. Yeah, okay. I do, Jeep Jam. Do. Okay, so let's go on to some medium problems here, and let's try tackling some of those. So where do we get to those? X out of this, filter by medium and algorithms. Okay, adding two numbers. Easy. Return x plus y. Done. What game engine do I recommend for JavaScript? Probably Phaser. URL is just phaser.io. But I actually wouldn't necessarily even recommend using a game engine for JavaScript. I don't think Phaser is great. I think it's good. I recently used Godot. I think that's pretty good. And that's what I'm probably going to use from now on for prototyping 2D games. I don't have a Godot thing. But anyway, if you're interested in learning Godot, I have a course on it. And it's here. And the first video is like half an hour long. So you can probably learn a lot just from that even. And it's totally free. But then after that, it's paid. So you're given two non-empty linked lists representing two non-negative integers. The digits are stored in reverse order, and each of their nodes contain a single digit. Add the two numbers and return it as a linked list. You may assume the two numbers do not contain any leading zero, except the number 0 itself. Okay, interesting. So we have a linked list. Let me store this as add two numbers. That's it. I'll put the link. Definition for singly linked list. Okay. So we get them in reverse order. So we're going to add the number, the current number that we're on in the list with the next number. And if we have a carry, we have to carry it over to the next one. Or if we're at the end of the list, we need to add a new node. So it doesn't sound too bad. Except for what else did they say here? Yeah, this doesn't sound too bad. In fact, I'm not actually sure where the difficulty comes in. So maybe I'm missing things. But this seems like just type out the code. This is when you were prepping your interviews last year? Ah. Okay, well, let's try this. Because like I said, I think I'm missing something here. So we're going to iterate over the list until we are at the end of them. So I guess just while true for right now. and we are guaranteed to have non-empty linked lists. So at the very least, we'll have a node in one of these. So let's say like val1 equals l1.val, val2 equals l2.val. So here are the two values, guaranteed at least that these exist, and our sum, so we're gonna need another linked list, like sum list. And now how do we make this? How do we have list node in place? I don't know how we actually access this. Well, I guess we could just make it an object. But I'd like to, yeah, let me just define this. And we would need to invoke this with new, or else this isn't going to work, right? New list node 5 null. Next equals undefined question mark null. Okay, so we need explicitly. Okay, then let's just test this really fast to make sure we're not going crazy here. Let's print out sum list and then just call add two numbers with. Let's just do this. Let's not even call the function. There. So node add two numbers. Okay, good. Yeah. I just want to make sure I was invoking that correctly. Do you have to iterate to the end? I thought the instructions say everything is in reverse order. I should have to because I have to add the numbers. And if I don't go through every element in the linked list, I won't be adding the numbers. Okay, so now we know we're doing this correctly. Let's do this. So we start with the sum list here, and it's going to start with 0 in it, I guess. And then we also need to keep track of a carry. So like carry equals 0. Okay, now we add these two. So sum equals val1 plus val2. If sum is greater than 10, then sum equals sum %10 and carry equals 1. And then our sum list needs this value in it. So sumList.val equals sum. Except for this won't work. We need it to be, well, actually this will be fine, I guess. Now we point to the next thing. And we could kind of, I could make a fake beginning node and then cut that out here so that I could have this just totally work. But then let's advance these things. So now L1 equals L1.next, L2 equals L2.next. So up here, we're going to check to see if these even exist. Next might be null. Yeah. So we could say if L1 equals null or L2 equals null, then we're done, break out of this list. So when we're done, we might need to add another node with a carry. If carry is greater than 0, then yeah, add a node. So adding a node to this list, we should maybe write a function to do that. Add to list val. Yeah. And we need the list itself. Okay. Shouldn't that be sum greater than or equal to 10? Yes, you were correct. Is Uniscript still a thing? I think they got rid of that. Or at least their JavaScript variant, I think they got rid of. I thought that was UnityScript, but I'm not sure. So this is not going to work right now. I haven't finished this. We would need to say add to list over here, and I haven't written add to list either. So our list is going to be sum list, and our value is going to be the carry. And we want to do the same thing here. Add to list, sum list, carry. So what if I started this out as just an empty object? No, that wouldn't work. I think we should just do it this way. Sum list equals add to list. Yeah. And now we can say that this is let and this is null. There we go. So if list equals null, return list node, or like new node equals this. And the value and next is always going to be undefined here. So this is totally fine. And if that's the case, we're going to return this. Otherwise, we're going to take the current list and say list.next equals new node. Return new node. This will remove the head of the list for us. which is kind of a problem. So I guess let's return the list. Yeah, and the way we would probably add this, we would iterate all the way to the end of this instead of doing it the way that I had done it. So instead of list.next, we keep finding this. So tail of list. And we can keep track of this too as an optimization. But for now, I'm going to iterate over it and find it every time. So tail list equals null. While true, tail of list equals list.next. That won't work. How about we do it even easier? While list.next. There. And so we'll get to the point where this doesn't have anything. We'll set that to the new one. We'll return the head of the list. So now let's see what we're doing here. This goes away. We set the new value. I think we're looking good. I'm not sure. Let's try it. So in order for us to even get this, we need to test out our add to list function. So let's start with something that's just null. And we'll say list equals add to list 5, 6, 7. And then we need some kind of like a print list function. Print list. Shouldn't you be storing the sum, not the carry, and adding the carry? Yeah, I don't think I did that. Yeah, I'll need to rework this. I'm gonna test out the functions I had so far. So print list. I have a list here. Do the same thing that we had. Let me do it this way. And if the list itself is null, we'll just return right here. Or actually, we'll print out that it's empty. List is null. Okay, so while true, we'll say console.log. There's a way to print without a new line. I don't remember how to do that. So let's just build up a string. So string wrap plus equal the list value. And then list equals list.next. And if list equals null, return. Or break. And then print out the value. So this is in reverse order, and it's going to be digits. And I think the best way to do this then probably is to also add a space, just in case we accidentally put a 10 in and we don't think it's the digits 1 and 0. It's actually the number 10. So now let's just see if we can get this to print. Yeah, because I don't know if I even got that. What scared you? What happened? So assignment of constant and tail of list. Yep. It was silent for so long. I've been talking pretty consistently. Did something happen? Oh, I have an infinite loop somewhere. Tail of list. Yeah, so tail of list is supposed to be here. I could just assign to it as list, I suppose. Wait, how did I want to do this? No, I'll just do it this way. If not list.next, break. Oh, you think your internet died? Okay. Yeah, I don't think anything's been happening. I am still messing this up, and I think it's still add to list messing up. So yeah, let's break in here. Okay, should show me over here. And we're going to go down to this code, and this is going to just infinitely loop, right? No, this one won't infinitely loop. It's this one that'll infinitely loop. So right now our list is a value and has no next. That is correct. And here we make a new node, and we try to find the end of the list. We are already there. So we say list.next equals new node. So now we're still going to point to the head of this list. That did not work. Because new node is null. No, new node exists. Never mind. Oh, I understand what's happening. Yeah, I thought I was hovering over the list that whole time. Okay, good. So our value is 5, and we're pointing to a node that has 6 that has nothing after it. So this is totally fine. So this makes me think add to list is working and that I messed up. Nope, never mind. It is this that's broken. Tail of list. Oh, I see. Yeah. I got it. So let's just say get tail of list if list.next return list, otherwise return tail of list. List.next. Cool. So now that we have a function to do that, that'll be much better. There we go. Let's try that now. Can I summarize the problem? It is here. It's basically you have two linked lists that have numbers stored in reverse order, and you have to add them. There's another thing I don't think I accounted for, which is that the linked lists are of different sizes. Oh, no, I did. Right here. Yeah. Okay, let's see if I got this working. Good. Okay, it printed 5, 6, 7. So that's what I wanted. I wanted it to just print out the list, and that means the add to list is working and print list is probably working. So now we want two different lists. So this will be list 1 and list 2. So let's go with just something easy. 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6. And this one's list 2. And then where's our function? Add two numbers. Sum equals add list 1, list 2, and then print sum. So print in 5, 7, 9. Oh, which is correct. Okay, it's important for me to know what's going on. So let's try adding 4 and 6, and we should get 10 out of this. And it broke. Assignment constant. Okay, that's fine. So I printed 0, 1, which I think is correct. I think this might be working. Let's paste it in and find out. Run code. Wrong answer. Output is 7071. Oh, I need to add the carry to the sum, right? Yeah, I didn't do that. But at least I think I didn't do that. I might be missing something else here. Yeah, okay. So let's see. The input is, this should be 7, and then this should be 0 that we get. Yeah, and so I'm adding 1. Where did that come from? Okay, well, let's just try this. We'll just debug. So this is 2, 4, 3. This one I do want to try to figure out on my own, and this is 5, 6, 4. We're going to inspect break. Wait for it to break in. Okay, go down to our sum function. All right, so the first two values are 2 and 5, and we're adding these correctly because there's nothing weird about that. And then we get to the next values, which are going to be 4 and 6, and then this is where things go wrong. So we add 4 and 6. We set the sum equal to what? 0? And that's correct. So I actually do want this to be the sum here. But then I don't have the carry considered in the next part, right? And that was our issue. Oh, I never reset the carry. Do I? Carry is greater than 0, add to list. Yeah, that shouldn't be done. That should just be called in the next. In the. Wait, no. No, this is what should have a carry. Oh boy. Yeah, we're talking basic stuff here. Now, what is the name of this program? Add two numbers. So I'm still getting 7081. And nothing sets the carry back to 0. Yeah, so that's what should happen here. Carry equals 0. Got it. Cool. Let's test that now. So this test case has to work. We just tested that. But we don't know for sure if every case works. Wrong answer. Oh yeah, if one of these lists is null, we can't just stop. We have to just treat it as though the value doesn't exist. Okay. But we have to stop when both are null. Okay, so we do this. And then we have to account for these being null here. All right. So L1 not equal to null, question mark L.val, otherwise 0. L2 not equal to null, otherwise 0. And then over here we do something similar. So L1 equals yeah, same thing. All right, what is that test case? 1, 8, and 0. 1, 8, and 0. And we get 18. Yep, perfect. All right. Yeah, so those are things I still feel like I should probably know as I'm going through this. All right, success. That's not bad. Yeah. Hey, Chippy. Do you click the Open Dedicated DevTools in Chrome before the inspect break, or is it possible to set it up neater? I do that, yeah. I think a recursive call would be better and cleaner. Yeah, let's see. So here, add two numbers. We basically want to. Let me think about this. So adding two numbers can be seen as add the first two and then add the result of all of the next ones. So we want to stop when both of these are null. So I wonder if we want like an accumulator in here so we can keep track of the sum. I wonder if we also need the carry for that to happen. Current sum. Oh, we might need to add the carry in. I don't know if I want to spend the time converting this to recursive, but I feel like I should. We can look at how it's better. So now how do we add these two things? We do this like we had. We pretty much just get rid of the while true. And that means we don't need a break here either. That's going to happen in our base case. We're going to return add two numbers L1 dot, well, L1, L2 sum carry. We will possibly need this. This is the end of everything. I feel like I'm going to need this here. Or new, where did I start this? Sumless equals 9. And carry equals 0. So we don't need this here anymore. And the rest of this is fine, question mark? I'm not actually sure. Identifier sum has already been declared. Oh, whoops, this is supposed to be sum list. Don't care about this now, and I want this to be over here. Okay, I think that's good. Let's paste that in. So if I put this at the bottom, it should overwrite the function we had, but let's just not have the old code. Okay. I don't know. I feel like they're about the same in terms of cleanliness. I guess not having a while true is sort of nice. What's the reasoning behind giving a variable name for the function rather than just naming the function normally? You mean why put var and then the name equals function? This is what their template code has. as in as soon as you get to any random problem on here. So like if I click the next button, you'll see that's just what they have typed out. So that's the reason that I wouldn't typically do things that way. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Like I said, I don't think that problem. Ooh, I didn't realize there were upvotes and downvotes. What did the last one get? It's got 2,000 downvotes. I wonder why. It's like 20% also solution. Oh, they only have the one solution listed. All right, what is this? Keep track of the carry using variables, emulate digit by digit sum, starting from the head of the list. Yeah, so again, this is one of those things where I feel like if you do this enough, you start adding numbers and you have to take into account the carry, then fine, you'll get used to exactly how you should type these things out. You won't run into this as an issue. You'll be like, all right, I've hit these problems before. And it's just never going to help you again in the future. I know I keep expressing my distaste at these sorts of problems, but that's kind of how I think about these. Like, without encountering these, I would probably write it on the job. And if I messed up, I'd go through this process here. And if it turns out it's something I have to do frequently, then fine, I'll like train myself for that while I'm on the job. But otherwise, I feel like you're learning a lot of generalist problems and you're getting very good at these edge cases for these generalist problems, and then that's it. It'll just disappear. I shouldn't say it'll disappear. I think like 90% of it will disappear, and maybe 10% is what you use on a job. You know, any good place to learn folder structure for TypeScript, React, GraphQL? Folder structure? As in where you're placing your files for all of those? Because if so, I think the general consensus is make a folder when you feel you need it. But if you're looking for just what does somebody else's project look like, I think you should just look at GitHub for those projects. So you just have like GitHub, TypeScript, React. You'll probably find something that's in these. Yeah, there's some starters even. I'd probably just look at this and see what their folder structure looks like. So they have a source folder. And inside here, they have actions, components, constants, containers, reducers, types. Sounds good to me. And if you look at enough repos and you see, yeah, wow, it looks like components always exist for React projects, then that's maybe what you should use too. And you can even drill down into these and see more. That's what I think is really amazing about open source. There are lots of these questions where you're like, man, how does this work? And you can go see exactly what other people did. It's pretty cool. Good ones use tricks that are used in real situations. The bad ones are almost identical, but they use tricks that are specific to made up problems. Yeah, I suppose so. I think a lot of software engineering is just writing glue code for two other systems. And in that case, these off by one errors and everything are kind of real. But also, it's like, oh, hey, we have data in this service over here, and we need it to be in this service, and we need it to be available and cached. And so, are you going to use the database correctly and some like Memcache or Redis correctly and all those other things? And at that point, it's basically like, well, design a whole system, and it's very hard to test on these sites. Am I considering CA relocation for jobs? No, no relocation whatsoever. All right, well, let's keep going. Let's look at the next one. Longest substring without repeating characters. So given a string, find the length of the longest substring without repeating characters. The answer is ABC, the length of 3. Okay, I think I see. The answer is B with a length of 1. The answer is WKE. No, the answer must be a substring. B. Oh yeah, yeah. So this one, there's a problem. What is it called? Like marching sums or something like that? I don't remember. I like vaguely remember seeing something like this years and years ago. Have you ever mentioned websites like the one you're using now in any resume? And are there sites you can recommend? I don't think I've ever mentioned them in a resume, no. But as far as the sites I can recommend, if you take a look at my notes, just go to, well, I guess that bit.ly link, but also just notes.adamlearns.com. You'll find the MISC and then engineering interview prep, and I've got a list of free sites in there. All of them provide numbers and reverse the order linked list. It's the only way to do things. It's tricks. Typically just checks to see if the interviewees understand best practices of the framework. Yeah, but even then, it's like I feel like if I applied for a Ruby on Rails position, I've never even used Ruby, so I probably wouldn't know the answers to any of those things. And yet, I still don't think I'd be bad for the job necessarily. But yeah, how do you gauge a candidate is a very big and open-ended question. So all right, so what I'm thinking here, find the length of the longest substring. Let's take a look and let's consider some cases. So here it's ABC. Here it's B. And here it is WK. So at any given time, if you say, hey, let's start at, so here's one way of doing things. One solution would be go through each character and then see how long a unique string from that character would be and keep track of the longest such string. So this is, I think, the most naive solution here, where we say, okay, we're on A. So let's just keep going through this list. So we get A, B, C, oh, repeated character. Okay, so A, B, C is our longest one. Now we go to B. And we go B, C, A, and then we get a B. Okay, so B, C, A is our longest one. Then we get to C, and we keep repeating. So that's one way of doing things. What else could we do here? What else can we do? Are there any hints? There are no hints. Okay, let me keep looking at this. Is there some other thing we could do? Okay, does iteration order matter here? If we started from the end, actually, that's kind of interesting. It doesn't matter whether you start from the end or from the beginning. It'll be the same answer either way. Because if you start here, you'll get to B, another B, so that the length will be 1 so far. Then you go to here, the length will be 2. Then you get to here, the length will be 3, and 3 is the answer. Technically, the answer to any of these, by the way, is just the number of characters. It doesn't matter which substring. It doesn't say find the first one. So yeah, from the beginning or from the end, they're both the same. And anything else as far as optimizations? I'm trying to think of this myself, and then I will look at chat and see. No, I can't think of anything. A sliding window. Yeah, that's true. Because if you found A, B, C, and then you hit an A, then you'd have 3 here. And when you get to the next one, you're like, okay, this invalidates everything back to where the repeated character was. So you can keep track of, well, now we're at BCA and the count is still 3. How long does it take? It all depends on where you're starting. Sorry, yeah, I should copy the task into here. My bad. It's in chat now. So sorry, yeah. What the problem? Yeah, I should just copy this whole thing. Here's the problem. Find the length of the longest substring that does not have any repeated characters. So in here it's ABC, because if you got to ABCA, you'd be repeating the A. So it's 3. So yeah, that sliding window away is interesting. I think that'd be kind of tough to implement. Sliding window. So keep track. Oh, all right, better. Keep track of so when moving on to the next character, because we found a repeat, move all the way to the end of the string and subtract the count of repeated characters. How long have I been typing like this for? I don't know. I've been typing properly for maybe 8 or 9 years. Because before then, I was still probably typing quickly, just not with the right fingers. The answer is actually 3 Xinon, so both of them are the same. ABC, BCA, it doesn't matter. It's 3 is the answer. Is there any restriction regarding time or space used? No. Keep track of your string starting and ending index. If you find a character that already exists in your strings, you have to be checking each character you see. See one that's already there, then you have to start your string after that one. Yeah, so this is what I think we should do. I think I should write this out. So go through each character. So from that character, go until you hit a repeat. On hitting a repeat, mark this as start char. So set that as the new start char. Counting as you go. And so then on hitting a repeat, what do we do exactly? So we hit this, and our count is 3. So now I want to go back until we find the repeat character. Go back until you find the repeat character. And set a new count based on how far back we had to go. Yeah, okay. I think it's something like this. Only places where the letter is or places where the same string can be? I think I follow that, Thorjan. Yeah, you might be totally correct. Sometimes hard to communicate these things over text. Why does P get ignored on the last example? P gets ignored because in order to find a string that does not include, so we're looking at a longest substring, and a substring has to be contiguous characters. So we look at P, there's no repeat so far because there's one letter. We look at W, no repeat so far, so we're up to a length of 2. Now we get to a W, and that's it. There's a repeat, so our length is only 2. So the longest substring involving P is PW, which is 2, and it's not as long as possible, which is 3. So hopefully that clarifies. Yeah, so I think this is the algorithm we would code. Yeah. Again, though, in order to even get to this, so this is something that, who said this in chat? Yeah, Flame It said this. Which, by the way, nice name, Flame It. So this is the kind of thing where in an interview, I think they're like, oh, nice, they've got some idea of how should they accomplish this. But I didn't see this at first, so I would have just coded the naive solution, and then at the end, they'd probably be like, okay, well, how would you improve this? And I think what they're pretty much asking is like, why didn't you come up with this before you tried solving the problem of how would you improve this? And I think this is where the pressure of interviews is just annoying because I'm not thinking clearly during an interview. All right, so let's try this out. This is the solution I want to come up with. Okay, so we need to keep track of which characters have we seen. Maybe it's better to write this out as even more steps here. So go through each character, mark this is the start character, mark seen letters as empty, an empty dictionary. So from that character, go until you hit a repeat, and yeah, set count to 0. Maybe we set count to 0 here. The sliding window is O of n squared, but it's going to be a lower coefficient than if you were to go through the naive solution, which is also O of n squared. Okay, hey Maybach. Okay, so yeah, let's try this out. So set count to 0. Go through each character. SI, and mark all of our seen letters as, so like seen letters equals just this. It could actually be a set. I haven't actually used sets in JavaScript. But as soon as we find something that's already in the set, so just new set, and then we can check has. So add and has, we need to remember those. So seen letters equals new set. Okay, and now I guess technically count equals 1. It doesn't ever start at 0. All right, so from that character, go until you hit a repeat. So for j equals I, j is less than s dot length, j plus. char 2, I don't know. Like later char. Okay, so if scene letters dot has later char, so now we've hit a repeat. And now we need to unravel backward. But if we haven't hit a repeat, then all we need to do is say scene letter. Oops, this is not a new set. It's technically new set dot add char. Yeah, so scene letters dot add char, later char, and just count plus plus. I think that's fine. Return count at the end of all of this, of course, and minimally is 1 unless the string is empty. In fact, if the string's empty, I'm just going to say s.length equals 0. Return 0. There's a way to make your algorithm work to just return 0, but whatever. Let's just handle the edge case by calling it out. Okay, so what happens here? So on hitting a repeat, set that as a new start character, and then go back until you find the repeat character and set a new count based on how far back we had to go. So this is going to become, oh, we also need to keep track of the longest count. Longest count equals math.max, longest count, and return the longest count. Okay. So we hit a repeat, we set that as a new starting character. Well, we just advance I, really. I equals j. And then we start with that character. But now we have to go backward to figure out how much our count is supposed to be. How much our count is supposed to be. Yeah, this probably isn't great. K equals, so where we were, K is greater than or equal to I. No, wait, this always has to be the first character. Yeah, it always has to be the first character. No, it doesn't have to be. It could be ABCC. And then it's the, yeah, never mind. Okay, K equals J, K is greater than or equal to I, K minus minus. And now we want to subtract based on this. So let's see. In this case, we're at A, B, C. Our count is 3, and we hit this A. At this point, our count is still 3. And we want to go back to this B and actually still have it be 3. So we just had to count how many characters there are until we get to our, so I guess let's just say like new count equals 0. This should actually be minus 1. If sk equals later char. Great. New count plus plus. All right, so something like that, and then count equals new count, and then we break out of this loop. All right, this is a mess. This is definitely a mess. I wonder if it even works. Okay, now's when we debug all this. So what's this one called? Longest substring without repeating characters. All right, we'll just type it in here and make it snake case, and then save this as that, and then run it. And reopen that. Okay, good. So now what do we have? How'd that HTTPS get there? And we want to run this with this character. I want to figure out what I did wrong here, and I don't want to look at chat for that just yet. Yep. Inspect break, and let's go into the debugger. Okay. Let's see. So we're going to put a breakpoint there. That won't get hit. It's totally fine, so long as count is 1. So what we're going to find is A. We're starting, oh, whoops, we're starting I. Whoops, that was supposed to be I plus 1. Let's try that again now. Add 2 numbers. It's not saying 2. This is off by 1. Go inspect this. I don't know why it takes so long to break in. Yeah. Okay, so later char is A. That's already wrong. What? A, B, C. How did I mess that up? I plus 1. How is J 0? Oh, whoops, I typed I plus I. Oh my god. They look too similar. Okay, now I got the answer 3. So I messed that up. Yeah. All right, I looked at chat though. Are you using a set to keep track of characters rather than a string? Seems difficult to curate the set if your start jumps to a new character. That is an interesting point. And also I never actually, oh, I did wipe out the set. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I could change that. Let me try this again and see if this is working. Okay, so AAB fails. And this is another one of those ones where it's like very easy for me to get off by one error here. So let's try this. All right, so what are we doing? We have character is, I'll put these up here to make this easier. So both of these are A already. And now we start here and we just immediately break. And so new count is going to be 0 when it should be 1. Yep, that was a mistake. Set this to 1. We paste this in. We hit run code. Okay. You know, those were two pretty basic issues. So far, I'm not like super upset at what I was doing. Now, what is this one supposed to be? Output's supposed to be 4, or no, output's supposed to be 3 and I got 4. So another off by 1. It's always bad when you're off by like a million. But it's only 1. How bad could it be? I accidentally closed that. Yeah, just subtract 1. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. The debugger looked good. Great. So I wonder where this messes up. We have our watch values here. So we have A and then B. And so we haven't seen B yet. So our count is currently, should be 2. Good. Our longest count is also 2. So now we keep going. We are A and C, so the count just goes up. A and C again. So wait, what is our string? A and A. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I understand what's happening here. Wait, no, I don't. Never mind. This somehow count went up to 4. That's the problem. What is new count here? Oh yeah, this is the node debugger. The way you find it is you just press F12 on literally any page and you'll see this, let me bring this down to the bottom. You'll see a little gem up here, like a green gem right between these two things. And it's not showing now because I already opened it. New count can never go higher than that. New count is set to 3 already. Okay, because we're at BCA, yeah. So far, so good. Now the letter is A. Oh, that needs to be I plus 1. Or J plus 1, like that. Okay, I think that'll do it. No, that's still 4. And now that's closed. No. Oh, because scene letters gets completely wiped out. Oh, drat. Yeah. All right. This is bad. I see what's going on now. So what's happening here is, and this probably isn't even correct. What's happening here is that our set is getting just completely wiped out. And this is kind of what Strung was talking about, where if I just kept track of a string, I could curate this more easily. Yeah, I think I'd rather code the other approach. Because for this, how I'd have to do things is I need to in here form this new set and then not have this code get run. So I need to do something like this. Set this to let, and then over here build up a new one. I mean, I guess it'll work. Yeah, maybe it'll work actually. Hey, nice. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I was gonna completely rewrite my whole thing rather than just fix the problem. Oops, I clicked run code. Run code's of course gonna work. It submitted, it didn't work. Okay, now this thing's failing. It's probably another weird off by one issue, but we're making it. we've broken on every single test case so far. Actually, I can't know that that's the case because I don't know what test cases ran in between. All right, let's see what's happening here. So we are returning 2, and we're supposed to be returning 3. So it's at WKE that it's supposed to go back to this. So what's probably happening here? We get to PWW, and we go back to that letter. Yeah, something's probably messing up there. All right. So PW, we set our count to 2. And we go back to this. And now our character is going to be K. Count it's 1, that's wrong. Ingvar, 37 months. 3 years and 1 month. Thank you. Thanks for sticking around for this long. All right, I think I am going to change this to the naive solution, and then look at the discussion afterward. Also, this is apparently never used now, which is a mistake because that should be added to scene letters over here. Yeah. Yeah, but I gotta use the bathroom really fast, so I will be right back. See you guys in a bit. Okay, give me a sec. There's a minor family emergency. Let me just set this for 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do here, and by the way, we could get rid of this internal loop, the K loop that we have. We can get rid of that one by keeping track of indices of what characters we had and maybe even what our set looked like at the time. Yeah, strong. It was well, I don't want to go into like extreme details here. My wife's somewhat distant family member. So to me, even more distant. But yeah, I will probably not be streaming for too much longer because I want to be there for my wife. Yeah, let's code the naive solution. I think that's where we'll end. So let's go through this one because this will, yes, this is my not working solution. Let's drag this down to the bottom. Just messed up all the tabbing. So it was go through each character, see how long a unique string from that character would be, and then keep track of the longest such string. Okay, so we have a lot of similar elements to what we had before. Like count, longest count, this stuff we could have. Actually, pretty much everything up until here. Okay. Okay, then we iterate from here. Let j equals I plus 1. J is less than s.length plus j. Later char equals sj. Okay, so if we've seen that letter, then we just break, right? And if we haven't seen a letter, then we do this. And then that's it. That's the whole thing, right? I might have missed something. I'm not really totally thinking about this anymore. So I'm kind of trying to speed through this. Just going to hit submit and let it figure it out for me. I put 11. Oh man. What did I do wrong? I never reset count. Okay, now output is 4 and should be 3. This one is interesting. Let's go take a look at this one. Yes, slightly more than off by 1. That's what I'm saying. Those are issues where they're actually probably easier to fix than off by 1 issues. So this one, it's printing out 4. And we have this here. So count is 2. Then we use the other W and it should just break out of it. Wait, what? What happened to that? What? Did I not copy paste my code the second time? Wait, what? This isn't the code that I'm looking at here. I didn't save this one. Oh, whoops. Yeah. Okay, let's try that again. So P, W, we break out of that. Now the character is still set to I. No, it's not. It's set to W. And it's set to which W? That W. Okay, got it. So we're going to get to the next W, and we're going to say that the count is set to 1 again. Now we're starting at that W, and we get WKE is what our answer should be. So this one's fine. Count should be set to 2. Good. Now we are on the E. Our count should be set to 3. And now we're on the W. Oh, our scene letters never gets reset. There we go. Yeah. That should do it. Okay. As you can see, that did not do it. And we're breaking on another case here. Yeah, there's another one of those times where I start to question, what am I what am I thinking here? Like, what am I doing wrong? This should break in, right? Yeah, it should. Okay, good. So we add that character. So so VDF is what's going to be the answer. And what are we getting here? We're getting output of that. Okay. Oh, wait, it does need to be reset. I just was resetting it wrong. Yeah, how am I resetting it wrong? This is the time you start to question your entire career choice until you solve the problem. Yeah, why does this happen? Like, that same thing happens to me too. I definitely feel your pain. Where I just keep thinking, like, am I just looking for, like, should I just be looking at junior dev roles? And then I think I've, like, I'm not a junior dev. But every time I go through these problems, I always keep thinking, like, yeah, whatever, let's go back to entry level. We'll just never make it past this. Okay, so this is not even the thing that I wanted here. I wanted to say DVD app. Although, I don't know if that's where it even breaks. Yeah, let's just run this normally. Yeah, this prints out 4. They're kind of created to make people confused, right? Something like that. Guess it comes from imposter syndrome? Yeah, I guess so. Like, I think what it really comes from is that this doesn't line up with a job normally. As in, doing interview problems, or when have you ever been asked to come up with this at a job? And if you have, then fine, you toil through this, and then you feel like, cool, I solved a problem for my job, and they knew that it was at a point. I think that's the issue. Yeah, but look, I think that's generally a good idea too. But I like solving the problems, so I'm not doing this so much for the studying aspect rather than the satisfaction of having solved it aspect. So I agree, from a studying aspect, this is not the smartest way to spend my time. But it is. It's going to be even more satisfying when I figure it out then. So dv, and now we get to the d. We've already seen it, so we go back. Now we're going to the v, and we get vd, good. And then vdf is what we should get, good. And that count is 3. And now we're at the end of the string. Oh, that's the part I did not account for, which is if we hit the end of the string, we're totally done. So if we ever make it to here, and j is equal to the final character of the string, so I guess we could just test this here. If j equals s.length minus 1, then we just return the current count, because that's the longest count. Or actually, I guess we break out of both strings off. I'm just gonna put this here. Yeah. Yeah, we made it to the end of the string. So this must be so we must know the longest count by now. Yep. Why would you return there? Because if you got all the way to the end of the string, then whatever set of characters leading up to it is the longest possible substring you could have. With output 4. That's not even possible. Oh man, I broke everything here. Just everything. What is this language? This is JavaScript. I think it's time to clean slate this one. I don't know. I feel like I'm almost there. I must only be missing like one thing. So BWF has all different characters. So we get to this, and it should have returned. J is equal to s.length. Whoops, that's why. This is wrong. And it just coincidentally worked for the past test case. Now we got it. Submit and look back and see green text because we figured it all out. Do I have an interview coming up? No. I stopped applying to companies. I'm gonna apply today, I think, to more companies. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Let's look at the solution. So brute force, that's what we did. I'm not going to look through that. Sliding window. So how did they do this? If it's already checked out no duplicate characters, we don't need to check it again. Scan the substring, which leads to an open squared. We can do better by using a hash set as a sliding window. Checking if a character in the current can be done in O of 1. Sliding window is an abstract concept. A window is a range of elements. Yep. Back to our problem, we use hash set to store the characters in current window. We then slide the index. If it's not in the hash set, we slide J further, doing so until it's in the hash set. At this point, we found the maximum size of substrings without duplicate characters. Whoa, wait, what? Hold your horses. Oh, that's clever. Okay. I wasn't doing things that way. All right, yeah. This is good. But is there a better solution? Sliding window optimize? Instead of using a set to tell if it exists or not, we can define a mapping of the characters to its index. Then we can skip the characters immediately when we find a repeated one. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. This is something I had talked about. Drat. All right. Where am I applying? I don't know yet. I don't know. Some part of me just wants a job and then to just kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to finish that sentence. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about my wife. Like I said, there's a family emergency and I'm going to get going. So I'll be back online tomorrow. We'll continue with more technical interview prep. I think we'll just be doing this the rest of the week. And I think it should be pretty interesting. So let's go host Raimu. I'm actually not even going to drop in. I'm just going to leave. So someone say hi to Raimu for me, and then I could not stick around. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and see you tomorrow. Bye.